This doesn't bode well.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Have you ever overheard a conversation about you that you wish you hadn't? It's a good question, though. It's a very good question.
Wow. Oh, God, yeah. Millions of them.
Okay, so overheard something.
I think the one where my folks fought over the attribution of who my legs belong to. Whose family did my legs come from? Oh, no! They thought my legs were really ugly. And so they would attribute them to the other person and that person's family. So I kind of wish I didn't hear that conversation. That kind of sucked and gave me a, let's see, what would you call it? A negative story about my body that has stayed with me for the rest of my life. So, we have body parts as women, especially. Oh my God, we have body parts that we think are okay. They're passable. And then we have body parts that are like, oh no, I wish I had another body part. I would like that woman's legs instead of mine. Well, so it goes. Yeah. So, I finally gotten to the point where I've accepted them for the most part. But that was a conversation that really scarred me forever and ever and ever, Yeah. And I wish I hadn't heard that. It was okay if they would have had that conversation behind closed doors or something, but they had it right in front of me. So that sucked, Ellen. That sucked.
That does suck.
That was just
That's terrible.
Not cool at all. So all you parents out there, especially if you have teenagers, never, ever, ever have a conversation like that in front of your kid or even behind the back of your kid. Your kid will find it out anyway. Yeah. So don't even think it.
Yeah.
How about that?
Absolutely.
Right?
And I've had the same kind of thing, with my parents and, attributes and things like that, and
negative attributes.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and those are hard,
So
yeah,
it brings up another great question. Yeah. How do you overcome the imprint of comments that you overhear like that?
Well, I think the first initial thing is you cry because it hurts your feelings.
Right.
And then you overcome it. I mean, I guess for myself, if one can know their true self. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If one can go, I guess a couple things. I think if one can go, they didn't mean that, like these are people that love me. What is the intention behind it? That's a big thing I've learned lately. Like coming from someone, like if someone's important to you and you feel hurt by something, and even like aside from like going to talk to them about it or whatever, it's like, what do you think the intention was behind that? Like, if I have a fight with my partner and my partner might say something, or I'm using this as an example, I can feel something about it. I can be really upset about it. I can I can be like angry and mad.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can go, what do you think their intention was behind it? Like, okay, I can go, their intention wasn't to be mean to me. Their intention, and in some cases it is with people, right? It is.
Right.
Some people are mean.
Right.
Some people are nasty.
Yes.
But, I know that with my partner, I'm like, oh, okay. We were fighting about something or arguing about something, or, but the intention always behind my partner, as I know, is love, or I care about you, or I want you to be safe, or something like that, So,
cool.
So with my parents, so overcoming that, I think I have to go, what was the intention behind it, right? And then I sometimes go, like with my mom specifically, and we've talked about this, like, what's her trauma? Who is she? Because I get my mom. I understand who my mom is. Whether she gets me or not is a different case. So from there I can go, okay, but who am I? Who do I know that I am? Well, I'm kind. I have a lot of friends. I have people that love me. I am beautiful in my own way, like everyone else is. And I guess that's how I have to overcome it. It's hard. I mean, I'm 51 years old, and that's never easy. I've sat in sadness for lengths of time about it, especially if you're, especially like with, a parent, like if you're a child or you live with your parents, like there's that cycle of just like, oh, this is terrible. Like, this is never going to stop, yeah. And that's where like
Somebody
therapy,
rescue me.
well, growing up, my mom and I knew we had a tumultuous relationship, and I knew that when I got to college, I could get therapy. As soon as I knew I could get therapy and I could get free therapy, I did it.
Oh, cool.
So my freshman year of college, I went right to the therapy student building, whatever it was, and did therapy every semester. Like,
wow.
yeah, because I was like,
great.
I want to. I want to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how I overcame those times, I think.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
What about you?
Well, let me just first say before I launch in that there's so much wisdom in what you're saying. Wisdom about looking for the intention, especially when people are saying stuff that feels painful that you love.
Yeah.
And that on some level, love you.
Yeah.
Right? Looking at their intention. I mean, that's
my last
beautiful.
therapist taught me that.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's very cool.
Yeah.
And you've absorbed it, and so it's your wisdom now.
Yeah.
And that's really beautiful. I love that. I love that answer.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Let's see.
What's yours?
Well,
Have you overcome
80 billion years of therapy, for sure. Yeah, lots and lots of therapy that I've had to overcome all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think, and this is something I tell my clients too. What helped was the counterpoint of compliments that people gave me who loved me. John would tell me I'm beautiful a million times, and I would tell him, no, I'm not, no, I'm not, no, I'm not. Because, that's what I'd been taught. But eventually, what I did is I said to myself, Julie, man, you got to crack open your chest and take this in. Take it in. Crack open and take it in. Because it was always, I was always shielded. I shielded myself from hearing stuff like that. And I had such an enormous belief that no compliments were true. They weren't true. Nah, somebody needs something from me. They're trying to get something, whatever.
Yeah.
Or they're blind, I kept saying, oh, John, do you have your glasses on? And he usually did. So I couldn't use that as an excuse. You can't see a thing, dude. So obviously that compliment is worthless. Anyway, so I had to really work hard on myself to take it in. And man, was that hard, because of that other voice, right? Yeah. That kept saying, nah, that's BS. It's not true. So, really, really focusing hard on voice, shut up, be quiet, go away. I know you won't disappear, but go away anyway. Just, go out to lunch or something so I can take in this compliment. And it's kind of worked. It's neutralized, I'd say. It's neutralized some of the negative stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. But the cool thing is that John sees me through the eyes of love.
Yeah.
Right? He loves me and I love him. And so what I open myself up into is receiving the love that accompanies his messages to me. There's so much love there. So I let in the warmth and the love, and the goodness of his vision of me. And God, what a gift that is, right?
Yeah.
What a gift. Yeah. So that's made a huge difference, actually. Of course, it's taken, 37 years. So with another, 30 until I'm over 100, I should be pretty A-okay.
But that's what it's about, I guess.
Yeah.
In some ways.
That's right. Love heals. Period.
Yeah.
That's right.
I love that so much. That touched me.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad. Because that, the stuff that you hear from your partner is coming through love too.
Yeah.
Which is really, really cool. We got to open up to that love.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Oh, boy. If you had to write a novel based on your life, what would the first line be?
Oh, I like this one.
Do you?
Yes, I very much like it.
Okay, you answer it.
Okay, our producer will edit this, so I'm not like sitting here for
Once
Sweet.
upon a time, there was a bunny rabbit.
No, but it's about you.
It is about me.
And its name was Julie. That's sweet.
The little bunny rabbit
Little bunny
bounced
Julie.
around the forest.
Okay, something like maybe, though it took her forever to get there, she finally did. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. She's laughing.
Though it took
forever
to
get there, she finally did.
I'd want to say something really ridiculous.
Okay, you for your line of your book or just in general?
No.
Okay.
For the first line of my book.
Okay, ready.
Like,
Ready.
Do you really like Chinese food?
Oh, I love that. That's a great way to start.
Whatever happened to Annette Funicello?
Oh, she died. She had a disease.
She did?
Yes.
Oh,
she had like
no.
MS or something.
Really? Oh. That's too bad.
I loved her. I thought
know,
she
I
was
did
beautiful.
Too. I thought she was really cool.
She was awesome and
I know.
beautiful.
She was great. She was the best of the Musketeers.
She was great.
But how many people have watched Mr. Moon?
No, I don't know what that is. What is that?
Well, Mr. Moon was a character on some TV show that I watched when I was a little tiny kid.
So you did watch something. You have watched something. I caught you. And it's the one thing that I never heard of.
Mr. Moon.
Mr. Moon.
He was so cool.
But he was on a television show.
He was on a television show.
I really want to ask my producer to go, can you please, what character did Mr. Moon come? Is it animated? Was it animated? It was a TV show.
It was a
kid
TV
show.
show.
Kid
Yeah.
show?
Apparently. I don't think it would be an adult show. Mr. Moon.
Mr. Moon.
He was so cool. He had
Mr.
a
Mooney or
really-
Mr. Moon?
No, Mr.
Mr. Moon.
He had a really round head, like super big round head.
Really, are
And
you
he was
having a
very tall.
hallucination?
No, and he was very tall and skinny.
Okay.
And he had a really big round head, and his name was Mr.
Well,
Moon.
it should be.
That's
what
my
he should
point.
look like.
That's
Okay.
my point.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
So-
So is that the first line? Have you seen Mr. Moon?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
And then you'd go into talking. I'm helping you. I'm helping you write this book.
Thank you very much.
And then you go into talking about the first time you ever saw Mr. Moon, and then your childhood. There it is. There's your first paragraph.
Wow, thanks.
Oh yeah, that. Oh God, that's freaky. No, that's no wonder she. Our producer just
look
said,
at
no wonder
Mr.
she didn't ever
Moon.
watch TV again. I do remember
Let me
that.
see.
Yeah.
When did he debut?
Okay, November 16th, 1953,
Yes.
Is that right?
in Portland.
Yes. Ah,
That's amazing.
Isn't that
I've
so
seen that. I've
cool?
seen that
So
character before.
We didn't
okay.
get a TV until 1955. So I saw him when I was 4 years old.
So, okay, wait.
Yes.
Aired
Mr.
until
Moon.
1958.
Oh, what kind of show was it?
Yay.
It's a puppet show.
Oh, scary.
Oh, I thought they were real.
Of course you did. The same way you thought The Exorcist was real.
I know. Oh my God. How many of you were traumatized by watching The Exorcist?
Yeah.
That could be the first line. I
Oh,
like
okay.
starting a
No, I
novel
like
with a
Mr.
question.
Moon. Yeah,
You
I like that.
Mr. Moon?
Whatever
Okay.
happened to Mr. Moon?
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Yeah.
And then launch into the first time you ever saw Mr. Moon and then
Yeah.
have it something.
You know what I Googled?
Okay.
What?
Mr. Moon, old-timey TV show.
Old timey.
So rude.
I
So
beg your
rude.
pardon. Our producer is insulting me at
That's
this
so
very
rude.
moment. How dare you?
Incredibly rude.
Old timey. I mean, my
Old-timey.
God.
Answer
no,
the
just kidding.
question.
Okie dokie. Oh, this is a nice one. Okay. All right. What's the best compliment you've ever received?
Okay, so this is a good one just because I feel like it's a good one. And it has to do with my dad. Very quick story. So growing up, there was this show, and I know you'd watch a lot of television, so I don't exactly remember know it, especially this one. But it was probably one of the first of reality shows. And what they would do, it was called Battle of the Network Stars.
Okay.
And they would take people. Oh, actually, yes. Okay. Well, it's going to go into a little another story, and I'll make it quick.
You don't have to.
There was a show called Battle of the Network Stars, and they would take, at the time, in the 70s, 80s, I would say, there were, the three main networks, NBC, ABC, CBS. And they would take some of the actors that were in their network shows, and they would take them to a campus, Pepperdine campus, which is in Malibu in California.
Right.
And they would set up these courses, like not obstacle courses, but these fun games and things. Like they'd have one where you would dunk, like throw the ball and people would fall. Anyways, it was like that. And so the network actors would compete against each other. So there was one of those, and I grew up just in front of a television. And so I just had no fear. Like as a kid, like I was actually very shy when I was very young, and then somehow got out of that. And but I would just go up to the people and go, "Can I have your autograph?" And then I got into soap operas when I got into high school, and
Okay.
and they and
No judgment. No judgment.
yeah, it was great. I loved it.
Okay.
I have fun stories around it, but I was, it was I would say the late 80s, and they had one of those kind of Battle of the Network Stars, but it was for soap opera people, like people in different soap operas. And my parents were always very cool. Like they would like if I wanted to go to something like that, they would take me. And so my mom and dad would take me, and I would like kind of make my way through the crowd and be like, can I have your autograph? And I collected autographs as a kid.
Cool.
And
Okay.
and my dad, remember once said to me, he said something like, he's like, I just love how you just go do it. Like you don't have any hesitancy about just going to get something you want.
Yes.
And coming from my dad, who, is he's so great. He's a really great guy, and I think, he worked for the post office for over 30 years, and he took care of my mom and I. He took care of his family, and I think there are a lot of things that my dad could have done, like other things he could have done.
Yeah.
But he's a boomer. He's and he he has he's this great voice. I think he could have been an actor. He could have been a voice guy. He could have, there's lots of things he could have done, but,
You have a lot of respect for him.
I do. Yeah. I
Yeah.
have a lot of respect for my dad, and he's like one of my best friends. And so I just, I just remember that, I think that's something that goes like in my core. Like it's a core memory
Yes.
of my dad telling me that, about myself, and then me holding that and going, yeah, I am that way.
Oh,
so
that's fabulous.
So I think now, I often have to remind myself that, because I think I got to a certain age in my life, in my 40s, where I just kind of, I got too scared. I got scared, like to not be that person.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think it's a menopause thing, which, women, we don't talk about that.
Blame everything on
We
menopause.
never, we won't talk about, but we don't talk about it. But that's really, I think when I really hit menopause, that was really, there were things that happened for me that I was like I just got, a little like I would overthink things, and it just felt crazy, and I felt, oh no, I can't do that. Or, so I would do this thing where I would go, commit. Just if I say to myself, like, commit, hit send, commit. And then I just do it. It's like that thing you were talking about being scared of something, but then doing it, and so I often have to remind myself, like, what's like, where's that little girl,
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Well, it's really cool that part is still inside you.
yeah.
And yeah, sure. When you get older, the world beats you up, right? I mean, it's just, there's no question about it. The world, yes, the world. Let's just generalize it. But yeah, I mean, you get tossed around and stuff when you get out into the world, and especially as an actor, as a creative. I mean, holy cow. I don't know how you guys have the courage to do it.
Yeah.
And so it's so cool that little compliment sunk into the foundation of who you are, right down into your core.
Yeah.
And yeah, the more adult experiences, were hard, and they created some anxiety and fear and, all kinds of stuff, and self-doubt. But that part of you remained, and you had it to turn towards when you were really scared. There it was, sitting inside you. This is who you are. You are a person who commits, who's an activist, who's not passive, who doesn't have a great idea and then says, no, I can't do it, and doesn't. It's really beautiful that you have that inside you. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I want it to be, I want to question it less in my time.
Look, your dad knew you.
Yeah. Yeah, he does. He knows me. He very much knows me.
If he knows you,
yeah,
and he saw that in you, what does that mean?
that it's me.
It is
who I
you.
am. Yeah.
That is who you are.
Yeah.
So how cool is that?
Yeah.
It wasn't like the cashier telling you that. It was your dad. So
Right.
it's
Right. Yeah.
Wow, you really know how to spend money. Give me your money. I really like how activist you are in spending your money. So that's fantastic. That's really cool.
What about you? Tell me. So define your I'm
No,
sorry.
the
That wasn't that
compliment. The
compliment. Sorry.
compliment.
I'm
The
looking at
best
this old
compliment.
question. I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, we did that already?
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so the best compliment I ever got. And you know what? I have a memory that just comes immediately to me. So, little context for it, though. Let's see. Throughout school and college, I was, I was pretty depressed, I suppose, and extremely withdrawn. I mean, you would never, ever, ever recognize me if you look at me now. I was so withdrawn and introverted, and I never talked to anybody. I had no friends, that kind of stuff, except for a boyfriend. I always had a boyfriend because I had to have somebody to ski with. All right, I'll take you as a boyfriend. Just sit on the chair with me. So anyway, long story short, college ends. I moved to Boston because of a guy I'd met, and he invited me to move to Boston with him, and so I did. And I decided to get a master's degree in counseling. So at Northeastern University, they had a great little counseling department. And okay, so I'll get a master's. And I didn't know how much time I had in Boston, how much time I would have. So I did a 2-year master's in 1 year. But one of my teachers was this big, huge guy. I mean, he looked like a refrigerator. He was gigantic. Beautiful guy, beautiful guy. He had been one of the heavyweight boxing champions of Detroit. And thank God he didn't have his brains punched out before he decided to go back to school. So he went back to school. He got a PhD. Just the coolest guy. So I was writing papers in this class for him. And on the side of one of my papers, he said, "You're a fantastic writer."
Oh.
And it was like, what? I can't believe that. I thought I was a terrible writer. Are you sure you read my paper, not somebody else's paper? It's like, I never had heard that before. Yeah. And he said, "You've got it. You can do it. You can do it." And he was the first person that told me I could do anything. The very first in my whole life that told me I was really good at something. And so I love that guy. I loved that guy, and I became a little puppy dog at his feet, and it's like I followed him everywhere, and I was very small, so I did really look like a puppy dog, and he was very large. And so he was the first guy, first professor I'd ever had, first teacher I'd ever had, who said I was worth something. And that just, it was the beginning of a nice long climb out of the darkness. But it was amazing. He turned my life around, that guy, with that compliment, that one compliment. And how old was I? I was about 24, maybe, something like that.
That's why teachers and professors are so
important. I know.
Right?
Yeah. God, I wish I could go back to that guy and say, thank you.
He knows.
Does he?
He knew. Yeah.
Do you promise?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do.
Did you
promise.
talk to him?
No.
Oh.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah. That's so great.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. That's awesome.
Oh, I felt so blessed by that guy.
Yeah. That's so great. And then I liked how you said that was just the beginning of and so that makes me happy thinking that it went up from there.
Mr. Moon.
Mr. Moon.
He was so cool.